So I'm very excited to be interviewing Athena Matthews Egnott. I've never said your last name, Athena, who came into my world from doing a 10-day program. So I just wanted to interview Athena because she's had such an interesting health journey before working with me. And then when she came into my world, she got Boot Camp 101, then bossed into actually working with me. And she's just so inspirational in terms of Athena's literally like a practitioner's dream client. She's coachable, she's teachable, she, in her own way, actions everything she's told to do. She reflects, but it's just such a joy watching Athena's health journey, but also how that has helped her show up differently as a human, like a woman first, a mum, and then a business owner, and how that's flowing into her business and what she's now capable of doing. So, Athena, first of all, just tell us what you actually do outside
So,
of working with me.
yeah, there's a little bit on working with Shelley. But outside of that, I am a breathwork facilitator. I also do surf and wellness retreat days. And then I love running events as well, like breathwork events, events where you're combining fun, wellness, healing. I'm on this mission of making inner work as normal as going to the gym.
And
And
what does inner work mean, Athena? I am just interrupting you because that alone is like, what the heck does that mean?
yeah, so inner work, I describe it as anything that we're working inside of ourselves. And that could be just on your own, doing things like meditation and breath work on your own, or with a therapist, a practitioner, healer in any way, shape, or form. Basically, inner work is like having that awareness, that inner inquiry to see what's actually going on, rather than just carrying on day to day with your behaviors, your habits, your stories, your beliefs, actually stopping and noticing where they're coming from, why you're acting the way you are, and just noticing them with compassion so you can really live your best life.
I love this, Athena. I'm totally throwing you on the spot here. But have you noticed, and it doesn't necessarily need to be about me, but what is something when you said like noticing the inner thoughts, the inner words that we're saying to ourselves, our beliefs, what is one that's shown up for you recently?
Wow. Let's go with the one last week that showed up for me. Perfect timing. We'll just go straight into that. So I love to also, I'm a super open book. I love to really
Yes, you
share
are.
from my heart. And it gives everybody else the permission to own their stories, to
And
share
Athena, are you like that in your events and in your breathwork sessions too?
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no filter really. I don't know if it's like a wee personality trait or like whatever it is. There's no filter. It's just the mouth starts moving and whatever comes out comes out. But I see it as such a strength because people always feel comfortable around me. People are always saying like, "Oh, I just feel really safe to, I haven't shared these parts of me, haven't shared these stories," and we know the whole um, part of healing is actually just speaking and sharing what's going on inside. So back to your original question, whatever it was, what I noticed last
Belief, what
the
you
belief.
notice, the belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, I was supposed to be flying up to Shelley's retreat day, which we had maybe 8 months, or not 8 months, but let's just
Oh,
say months, at a very long time notice to book a flight from Christchurch to Wellington. And even there was another girl going, so she did all the work for me and looked into booking it and said, in that moment, I should have told her, I'm probably not going to book my flight, just book it for me and I'll give you the money.
that would have been actually really smart of Fina because Sophie's so lovely like that. She would have done it for
She
you.
would have done it.
Power of community. You
Yeah.
like we definitely hold each other, and she definitely would have done that for you. You should have. Yes. So yeah, the
Yeah.
attention piece number one.
Yeah. So I've had friends that have done that in the past, being like, she's never going to book the flight. I'll just book it now and not tell her. So anyway, it was a week before the retreat. And so I'm like, cool, I'll start looking into flights now. And obviously they'd gone from like $100 to like $500 one way. And I was like, oh, they're too expensive. I can't go. So it was like 2 days before I messaged Shelley and I was like, oh, I can't come. I've left it too late and the flights are so expensive. And she's like, obviously the flights are expensive now. It's 2 days out. And I said, oh, you know what? I was actually feeling really nervous. So I had my own an inquiry, and I thought I'm feeling a bit nervous of how I might feel at the end of the day. I was thinking I might feel a bit anxious, and I already get just a little bit of anxiety flying, which is okay. And I was thinking, oh, I don't want to feel that anxious at the end of the day, so I don't think I can come. So that was the reason why I didn't go. So I said that to Shelley. We've got a really awesome relationship, and she can call me out. She knows she can say whatever to me, and I'm not going to be offended because, or if I am offended, it's good. It's a, it's like a good, and I can take it. I know there's going to be a gold nugget there for me. So she said, "Be yes."
Yeah.
She basically said, "Be yes. What's the real reason? I don't know. I don't believe that's your real reason." So I did my inner work. I did my inner inquiry. I
What
laid.
does that look like for you, Athena, when you do your
Yeah,
inquiry? Okay, cool.
yeah. So I lay on my bed, and it can be different every day. Sometimes it will come through to me super fast, but I basically just didn't have any distractions and allowed what needed to come through into my mind without any judgment, because we can get all these downloads, and downloads, I mean, like, yourself talking to yourself, or these ideas come to you, and we're too busy to actually stop and hear them.
Oh, Athena, can you just say that again? Because I think that is so beautiful. Because I feel like for some of my clients, especially, maybe your clients are different. We hear these words downloads, and that seems awfully woo-woo. Like, I don't know if I would have connected with a download in my accounting days, but when you just reframed that, so often on social media, you'll hear people talk about downloads. I see it a lot, and now I know what that means. But you just explained that so beautifully. So yes, it's a download, but it's also what's the other way of saying it, Athena?
So it's also just yourself talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And we're always so busy, we just brush it away. We don't acknowledge ourselves talking to ourselves. There's a very scientific way of explaining that,
That's
explaining the
perfect.
download.
Super easy. Yep.
So I was lying on my bed in silence, allowing myself time to hear myself talk to myself. And what actually came through was I felt guilty. I felt guilty for being healthy. And this is because my brother and my mum have passed away. So my brother, when I was really little, he had a heart condition. So he passed away then. So that was kind of medical. And then my mum had a motor neuron disease. So she passed away. And then, again, kind of medical. So health related, but very, very different stuff that they weren't necessarily in control of. And
True.
so I felt this guilt for having this opportunity to be healthy when they didn't have the opportunity to be healthy. And then, as well, the whole world, the world struggling with their health. And then me, raising my standards and getting more and more healthy, I was feeling guilty. So I kept myself stuck. I kept myself exactly where I wanted to stay. That guilt just didn't stop me from booking the flight. And that is how we connect in with ourselves and do the inner work and belief system. There we go.
Yeah, well, both of those are Fina. And so then once we called out the bullshit, so where beliefs, and as a practitioner or a Fina's practitioner, like specifically, why I called out the bullshit for Athena was it would be very easy for the next 6 months to go by where Athena would just stay at the level of how she's at. Right. And I would be putting all this energy in, doing Athena's blood work, like driving her to be healthier and healthier. And how I see it on my end and why I called out the bullshit quickly for Athena is she's going to plateau. She's created, and you talked about the book that I also love as well. She's created a ceiling of her health. So Athena would have the opportunity to go back, to come back to me in future 10 years of working with clients, I know how this rolls out. Athena, in 6 months' time, would be able to turn to me and say, my health hasn't changed in the last 6 months. You've done a pretty shitty job. Thank you very much. She wouldn't say it like that. And so the reason I called Athena out on her bullshit was I could throw at the tool all the tools at Athena. I could spend all day, every day coaching Athena. But if she's got this ceiling of where she believes her health is allowed to stay, her internal talking, dialogue, beliefs is going to cap her health at that level. And it wouldn't matter if she stayed working with me for 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. it would stay at that level because she would start to secretly self-sabotage. Whether she was aware of the self-sabotage, and I say secretly, because it would turn up as subtle things like she won't book her blood tests. Right? Like I could already, when she wrote me that email, I could already future forward how our relationship was going to go for the next few months, where it'd be like, oh no, sorry, Shelly, I'm so busy. I am so busy with my work and I didn't have time to book my blood test. And another week would go by, another week. And then I'd invite her to the next retreat. Sorry, Shelley, can't come to that either. I'm hosting, and this is when practitioners like Athena get really clever. I'm hosting my own retreat on that day. Actually, I double booked by mistake. Like, I don't know how that happened. And then as a practitioner, what am I meant to say? Oh, you can't run your own business? And so I know the sneaky little beliefs that get in that would keep Athena at the ceiling. And because I genuinely care, and you'll see, the other bullshit I've called Athena out, and I don't mind. Like I have this saying, clients don't even need to like me, but I care so much about your health and your results. Even if Athena got offended, even if she wrote me back a nasty email, which she never would, but even if she did, I cared in that moment. And I said to Athena in the email, it's not about whether you're attending the retreat or not. Like I 100% understood the flights were ridiculous. I was like, I'm not going to force you to attend the retreat, but there is an opportunity to up-level your health without even coming to the retreat. And I don't want you to miss out on that opportunity. And so that's why I went back to Athena. And as a practitioner, yes, I can fill you with supplements. Yes, I can tell you what to eat and do and the things to do. But we need people like Athena that are dream clients that actually are willing to put in the work. Athena had to spend the time with the reflection, doing the inner work, to then be able to come back. She did it very fast to come back to me and be like, I know what it was. Yeah, but already Athena has changed that ceiling. Like her ceiling is way up. And I also know that in another month, I'll be calling bullshit on her new ceiling. Right? Like already before we press record on this, I was like, Athena, I didn't say bullshit, but I said, I'm calling bullshit on your 2026 year. Like you have got more. Like this is, and it's the old beliefs. And the thing about health that we often forget is we need to keep, as our health gets better, we get to keep changing our life and our dreams and expanding what we want for our lives, whether that's work, whether that's family, whether that's us as women, whatever that looks like. But that is the gift of health, eh, Athena?
Massively. And just one other piece of that story of from what I did after Shelley called me out and I got that understanding is she asked me what's my new belief or what do I actually want to believe or what my mum would want me to believe. And that message came through. My download or myself talking to myself was it's safe to be healthy. So the next few days, like I just kept saying to myself, and really feeling it in my body, it's safe to be healthy. It's safe to be healthy. And do you know what's so cool? Is 2 days in a row, I really wanted to walk down 30 seconds and get these glorious gluten-free, dairy-free waffles. And I paused in the moment and I felt, you know what? I actually love myself more in the waffles. And that was huge. That was big. And that just felt like, yeah, that was this new level. And I made myself my Clear smoothie instead. And it was
And Athena, you know what? And that goes back to, and I bet you lots of people ask you this too, but I get asked this all the time. How do we have self-control? Like clients will often say to me, oh, you've been gluten-free for a decade. Like, how do you live without your baguette? And you've summarized that so perfectly. For me, sure, there are times when I go past a French bakery and I'm like, oh, that baguette smells so nice. Like, it doesn't matter how healthy you are, it doesn't matter how much inner reflections we do and how long we spend on our beds listening to our self-talk. That smell is like, whew. But it's that whole I love myself so much. I want to nourish myself. Now, for some people, maybe the baguette is nourishing, but for me, it's not. For me, it's not going to have any good side effects other than that one moment, one bite for 1 second. So, Athena, that's so beautiful. Now, we're gonna I know we started there, but we're gonna go back because I think your past is so fascinating in terms of you being a trainer to and just how much you've had to kind of unlearn, and relearn, but how you actually thought you were healthy when you first came into my world, which is doing a 10-day health program, which we'll talk about in a second. But what is your background before you got into breath work?
So I was a personal trainer for from straight out of school, so for 15 years. And I lived over in Perth for a while, so we were really educated. We were always having top people from around the world coming in and learning, and I just loved it. Like I loved anything to do with the body. Um, And funnily enough, when we studied nutrition, I was 18 and it was a Friday morning and it was back in the day of would go out drinking on a Thursday night. So I'd turn up to nutrition, hungover with my bag of McDonald's, and I hated nutrition. I was like, this is just science. This is just so sciencey. I hate it. And I think I'd failed it twice and I finally passed it like the third time, like the following year, I had to still do like the nutrition thing. Anyway, I then got into bodybuilding and I really started to learn about like enjoy nutrition and I started to see that how it could change my body. I also had a eating disorder, as I tell anyone who's going to get into bodybuilding. I say go get some therapy first, and if you still want to do bodybuilding after your therapy, great. But do your therapy first. It's not going to solve your problems getting leaner. So I did bodybuilding for maybe 4 or 5 years. So I learned, and we call it like bro science, all the stuff that doesn't really count. Like it's like somebody has learnt what Shelley knows and teaches us, but somehow twisted it. It's like a Chinese whisper. That's what it is. It is like a Chinese whisper of
Describe it. It is.
it's like a Chinese whisper of information. Um, and I noticed that the other day recently, Shelley was quizzing us about estrogen storage and what happens with our liver. And I could have these random thoughts of back in my personal training days about um, if you put on fat, you're increasing your fat cells, and then the fat cells they'll shrink, but you've doubled your fat cells. And it's just all the stuff that's like someone's heard something along the way. Anyway, so the intentions of back then were very good, but getting to learn things a whole lot more properly from Shelley has been amazing. But so I spent 15 years personal training industry. Um, I really love to empower people, empower women to lift weights, break the diet cycle. So I was very big back then of getting people to track their macros, and that was sort of what I did to stop their starvation and to get them to really understand food. I think it's so important just to understand like what's a carb, what's protein, and what's fats. Like just learning
Right.
that is like life changing. Um, but yeah, as I grow older, I didn't want to be in that industry anymore. I got sick of everybody hating their bodies, It was just women constantly just wanting to lose that 5 kgs. It was people pulling at the tiniest little bit of fat on their stomach, hating it. And I just was like, there's so much more to the world. Like there's so much more to the world. My mum used to always say to me, if I ever felt like I was fat or if I ever said anything negative about my body, my mum would say, there's bigger problems in the world, Awhina. And so
Which is quite true, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I got really sick of just being in that environment of just the negative self-talk, people not actually loving their bodies, and I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So that's part of how I then led off to wanting to help people on a much deeper level.
Which is so beautiful, Athena. And then I just wanted to bring that background in because some of the things you've had, but then this broke my heart. Like once I got to, so Athena joined, was it the 10-day health immersion or the parasite program
I
first?
started with the parasites, and that
That's
was
what I
yeah,
thought.
my
How'd you learn about the parasites though?
So, 6 or 7 years ago, after I had my daughter, I went to, because I was having these skin issues. So I went to a homeopath slash audiology slash naturopath. and did live blood analysis, which was so cool. Pricked the finger, put the blood under the microscope, watched it on a big TV screen, saw all my blood cells, which were amazing. And then I saw like this wee squiggle, and he was like, "Oh, yep, that's a parasite." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I went down the rabbit hole of learning about them then, and I did some parasite cleanses with him then from his own tonics and stuff like that. So that is how I started to learn about them. And it was just brought to my awareness then. So then I was like, I need to do this. When I saw Shelley started posting about it, I was
How
like,
did
yeah.
you know though, Athena? How did you even come into my world?
It was so about 10 years ago, you did that book
That's
tour.
right, that's right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. I knew yes, yes, this
Yeah.
is so funny how Athena came into my world. You've got to share that, Athena.
Random. So yeah, so it was about 10 or so years ago. Shelley was doing a book tour with Luke Hines. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And And they came to Christchurch, and I was like, "This is so cool." I went along. I had like didn't care who Shelley was at that time.
No, of course
Didn't
you
know
would. Nobody would. You came for
didn't even
Luke.
know she was going to be there. And yeah, she did this talk, and I was so into she shared her story, her banking journey, and food, and I was already had that awareness and openness to how food can is like our medicine and how we can heal ourselves. I was only in my early mid 20s then, but just having that awareness and just knowing like this is it. So I might have ended up on Shelley's mailing list or something like that. Never read any emails, but over
I
the
agreed, and I wrote them so infrequently, Athena. And like, so it was like potluck if you got an email.
honestly, it was like if you believe in spiritual stuff, it was like divine spiritual alignment of all of this. The universe had a bigger plan for me coming into work with Shelley. That is for
Oh
sure.
no. So, and then
Um,
Athena, you reached out to me on Instagram about it, eh?
yeah.
I'll tell my side of this part for a second. So Athena reaches out to me on Instagram, and like we say, if you believe in divine timing, and I like to believe, like that, even if we miss an opportunity, there's always a new opportunity waiting. And so Athena reaches out to me just as I'm actually lying in bed. I'm not normally on my social media. It was so weird that, and it was like late. And she's messaging me about the parasite program. And I'm messaging her back, like she sends me a photo of her skin. She should have known to run at this point. Like she's wanting to like do a parasite program. And here I am about to tell her it's not only parasites, it's mold. Like I literally am so honest that in that moment she's like asking me, will the parasites fix it all? And I'm like, well, actually, no. No, it won't. You'll actually need to do this. And this is before she's even bought a program with me. And I'm already telling her that it's not going to be the only thing that's going to fix her. And that is the honest truth. As soon as Athena showed me her skin, I was like, it is parasites, but it's also mold. And so, like Athena, I also overshare and I'm like honest to probably my own detriment at times. But I didn't want Athena buying it and thinking her skin was going to be fixed in 10 days from parasites when it's not just going to be parasites. There's more to this journey. And so Athena did, in all honesty, she took my reflections and bought it because I knew the parasites would help. And I'll fast forward for this part for a second. And so at the end of the program, obviously, if Athena's had a great time and learned a lot and feeling, better.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Oh yeah.
I don't know what happened.
You vanished.
I'll keep going. So then I tell Athena at the end of the 10-day program, she's not fixed. She needs to work with me more. Now, which sounds like, I'm just telling her into the next thing. But once again, I was literally just telling her the honest truth. But what transpired, I think, is the most magical thing. So I don't know, maybe a few weeks later, a couple of months later, or whatever it is, Athena then signs up for the 10-day health immersion. And this is literally where, like, I was crying for Athena as I started to learn more about her health journey. And so I'd reached out to Athena telling her she needed to do more. And I'm telling you this because it turns into a good part of the story. And Athena's like, no, 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 I've done enough for now, whatever it is. I've spent all this money with other health practitioners. But she does decide to do the 10-day health journey. But I also know she spent a lot of money with other health practitioners and hasn't gotten all the results that she wanted and deserved. So I can start to see, why there'd be mistrust, why she wouldn't necessarily want to sign up to work with me for a year, like how is this going to help her? And so in the 10-day health immersion, that's when we learned like what happened 6 months and like I was just crying. Athena, just tell us a little bit about that part of your story because that is just heartbreaking for all the women that go through that.
So around the time, so when I was pregnant once, I like nearly fainted. I was at the midwife's, luckily, so I had to get the ambulance, go to the doctors, go to hospital, and they did all my tests, and said I was fine and sent me home. And then
Oh.
after I had my daughter, it happened again. And luckily, my mum was there, and my mum called an ambulance, and they came and checked me over, and again said that I was fine. And I was literally like lying on the couch, feeling like I was dying and not knowing what was happening, but apparently I was fine. And then a few hours, maybe like an hour later, my mum drove me to the doctors, and they like put me on a drip, and I'm sure they said like I can't really remember, but it was a ridiculous amount of drip they put me on. And they had to stay late while I was there because I couldn't leave. I was there till like 6:30 and they shut at 5. And then it happened again. And once again they did all my tests and said I was fine and then sent me home. And then a bit later, it happened again. I'd played netball, and this is probably a year later. And yeah, and then so pretty much passed out like after playing netball, and had to just lie in their in their physio room at the netball
And
court.
this is a mom, just so everyone realizes, you've got what, a 6 month, 1 year old, 18 month by this, like, and you're a solo mom at this point, are you?
Not yet, no,
Okay,
no.
so you
Yeah.
did. Okay, cool. I just want to check, just like, but regardless, whether you've got a partner or not, like, you're still like trying to raise this small human, almost passing out, fainting, dying on the couch, like, so sick. Yet you're being told by the medical world that you are fine, when
Mm.
clearly you are not. Like, nobody that's passing out, fainting, needing drips and IVs and all the things you went through. Like, no wonder you had medical mistrust or just mistrust in terms of like, is this just the state of your life, like your health? Like, how are you ever going to get better? And nobody can give you tools, and everyone just tells you that you're fine.
And then like from that, like it wasn't, I noticed from starting to work with Shelley, I noticed all these things I had started to normalize. Like I wasn't going for walks, like I wasn't going for like a 1K walk because I was scared I was going to faint. I was scared I was going to pass out. I stopped doing so much stuff. Like I stopped really living my life out of fear. Like I wouldn't go out for meals because I'd fear how long the meal might take and I might feel faint. I wasn't, going and walking. We've got all these beautiful hills. I wouldn't do that because I'm scared I'm going to faint. And I didn't know what was going on. And also after I had my daughter, I put on a lot of weight. Like I'm a small person, and I'd put on like over 20 kgs after I'd had my daughter. So before I had my daughter, like I was like 60 kgs, and then I got up to like 90. And I remember I sent Shelley a photo, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, like how I cannot believe the medical world, and you would have been pre-diabetic then." And it just really started to. I think after I shared that photo, that's when I realized, oh wow, there's actually a lot going on with my body. It's not just the surface level of my skin. There is a lot going on, and have been reasons as to why I was feeling faint, why I can't go for walks, why I was collapsing. And yeah, that was the start of my real journey with
It,
Shelley.
it was Athena, and because as a practitioner, you obviously see. I saw a lot of what like Athena was asking about her skin, but I was hearing over these 10-day programs because, as you know, Athena, I'm very active in the group daily, listening, reading what everyone's sharing. And I was like, Athena's got hypoglycemia. She's pre-diabetic. She's limiting her life. She's got so many things going on. weight loss. She needs the weight, like just all of these things, plus the skin. I was like, I'm not going to get her better in a 10-day program, and so I reached out to Afina again once I realized how much people had promised her things and hadn't been able to deliver and hadn't been able to get to the root cause of her health and really help her. And I reached out to Afina, which was very brave for me too. Like when it comes to inner work, and I'm so grateful for the inner work that I've done because Shelley from 5 years ago would never have reached out to Afina twice. Like I'd asked her once to come and work with me, and that rejection would have been so huge 5 years ago. I literally don't swear, but I would have been like, fuck it, don't care if you get better or don't. But my heart would have always wanted Afina to get better, but I would have had this little voice going, she rejected you once, and it's not even about me. It's about Afina and her journey and her pain and all of those things. But I've had to do all that inner work, like what, the inner reflection that Afina talks about. And this is why I love what Afina does. And I'm a big believer in it because I've done it and still do it. But I was like, I'm just going to reach out to Afina on Instagram. And I left her these long, because she was like, why should I work with you for a year? Why should I trust you? And literally, poor Afina, she shouldn't have asked because boom, within seconds, she had like 14 minutes of audios in her inbox DMs telling her all the reasons and how I was going to be different, but not just different from a talking point of view, but whole body already telling her this is what we need to work on. These are the tools. This is why I'm different. This is what I'm going to do for you. Like really kind of sold you for want of a better word. And the word sold 5 years ago would have also given me heebie-jeebies. But I literally did take control and tell Athena, like, this is where your life's going if you don't work with me, and this is where it's going if you do work with me, and this is how we'll make it work. And that comes down to that inner reflection and that sitting with myself that I could even do that and then be like, she still might say no. And I even said, you still might say no, and that's really okay. And as a practitioner, I'd also be like, that's her journey. And I can like release by this time I'm really into Athena's story because I've worked with her and I'm just like, this is so sad, this is so all the things. But I knew that if I tried one more time, I could release it and be like, that's Athena's health journey. Like I, as a practitioner, I've held the ceiling, I've held the space for her. And so then when Athena did come into my world, poor thing, thought she was turning up for her skin once again and now to do 12 months with me on her skin. Next minute, we're whipping her into shape with her blood. Like, literally, the day, like, the joy for me as a practitioner, but listening to Athena, when Athena messaged me and was like, I can walk to the beach. Right? Like, don't you remember the day you could walk to the beach? And I'm like, Athena, this is why I wanted you to sign up. Like, it's more than the skin. It's all of these gifts that as a solo mum now, you had restricted and you were going to restrict your daughter in terms of because you didn't have the energy to be the mum that you want to be because of your blood sugars and because of wanting to faint and because of not knowing how to eat for your body now. And all of these lies that you basically had to unlearn to be where you are today.
Massively. And one of the things you talked about the energy, and I never understood energy. You'd say, you've got energy. I'm like, yeah, I've got energy. I didn't realize that I shouldn't be waking up and needing my coffee to get out of bed and then having another coffee before I work out and then having another coffee to actually do some work. I didn't realize that I actually didn't have energy without any of that. And that was in the 10-day program. Shelley made me sit without my coffee. She kept telling me,
Nice.
just sit with it. And I was honestly, I wanted to punch the wall. I was so angry. I I was frustrated. I was crying and I was in the chat messaging Shelley, can I just have my coffee? She's like, just sit with it, Athena. And oh my gosh, I sat with it. And
Worst answer from a practitioner when you want to punch them in the face, but best answer.
it gave me so much awareness because it's not just about energy to go for exercise. It's energy for your body, your internal body, your systems to actually do their job properly. And that was the moment I was like, wow, if I don't actually have the energy to do any of this, my organs aren't having the energy to clear everything out. My liver doesn't have the energy to remove all the stuff, and that's why it's coming out my skin. Because I think at this stage I was still focused on the skin.
You were.
Yeah.
You were.
And realizing, wow, I actually don't have brain function without coffee as well, and normalizing it. We all joke like, oh, I gotta have my coffee, like I'll get to work, gotta have my coffee. But actually realizing what that actually means and how that's affecting us was a really massive, big light bulb moment for me as well. So now so yeah, like I said, I'd have 3 coffees a day. I had to have it before like anyone talked to me in the morning, first thing. And now I have 1 coffee for the enjoyment, for the ritual, and I don't need any other Sometimes I do have another one, just the fun, just cause, but I don't need it. And it's been, yeah, really, really life-changing. Yeah.
And Athena, that's like, and I think that's a really beautiful message as well. And you know that this is my message. I really don't care if you have the coffee, anybody, any
Mm.
client has the coffee or doesn't have the coffee. It's actually about the why. If you're needing it for the energy, that is not a healthy body and that's not a healthy person. We're literally, just like we suppress emotions, we're suppressing symptoms and pretending like we're showing up and pretending we're healthy when we're really not. And so it's like calling the bullshit on that habit too with clients and going, but are you healthy without it? And if you know you're healthy without it, like Athena does now, have 5 coffees a day. Like in terms of, because you're enjoying the experience, it's social and coffee, food, all of that, there is a social component to it. There is a nervous system and a community and all these beautiful gifts. But when you're using it for symptom suppression in terms of or getting energy or brain function, that's not a gift. That is literally your body is rotting on the inside, but you're pretending and showing up like it's perfect. So, Athena, tell us just one other thing in terms of disaster, for one of a better word. Has the recovery, has the healing been all plain sailing?
Um, it's it's been a journey. It has
I know
been
that
a journey.
that
1 minute, what was really, how sometimes you kind of have to hit that rock bottom to make you actually take action and realize what was going on. And that moment for me, again, another one was I could feel myself wanting like getting really low and needing to pass out while I was driving home from picking up my
this
daughter.
was the disaster I was referring
This was the
to.
disaster. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. So this was my
And we've
blessing.
been working together for a few months by now, like in
Yeah.
the
And so
program.
luckily I had that group chat for support. But basically what happened is I was driving and I could feel myself. I was going to pass out, but I was driving and I didn't want to stop. I was really close to home and I was like, just get home, just get home, just get home. And I managed to pull into my driveway with my daughter, and I collapsed on my floor. And I was in the group chat, like voice messaging, like I'm on my floor, like I'm dying, I don't know what to do. Luckily, I randomly as well, like my friend is a nurse and she lived down the road. And I rang her and I was like, "Can you come over?" Like, and she came over and I'm on the ground. Is so lucky. Like Shelley was in the chat telling me like what to do, what I needed, and just basically saying you just need some food to get you back up. And I'm like sculling coconut oil, like just like shoveling it into my mouth. Like could only just get it into my mouth. I was gone. I was sculling maple syrup. I was like, it was just anything I could get. I was just getting it into my body. And that was when I started to really take it seriously and started to change my food. So up until that point, I'd had a lot of like quite a carb and protein heavy way of living, and that wasn't helping my hyperglycemia whatsoever. It was just crashing the blood sugar, and I had been living on that for a very long time. And so I had never wanted to be a high fat, high protein kind of diet person. And I realized, okay, if I want this to actually heal, I have to change. And we're about, I don't know, what are we? Maybe like 2 months or three, probably 3 months later now. And it is amazing. So at first it was like a nightmare. It was hell. It was
What
hell.
did your car look like, Athena, while we were changing?
So Shelley had me eating every 2 hours. And I needed it. Like I needed it to stay balanced. I could really feel the difference. And there was a lot of mental work that went along with that as well to feel safe because I'd start to feel low and I'd start to feel anxious and I'd almost trigger myself into wanting to collapse again. So I would have this pretty much my front seat, the alarm in my car would go off beeping, thinking that somebody was sitting there and they needed to put their seatbelt on because I would have so many snacks on the seat with me. I'd have all my nuts, I'd have my smoothies, I'd have just everything. I'd have a jar of nut butter, even though now I don't have that for my mold protocol, but I just had everything with me all the time. So I was constantly eating. And then obviously that led me to put on another part of my journey, 5 kgs. Thanks, Shelley. And then I've,
And I'd be like, Athena, stick with it. It's part of the process as she's getting fatter and fat. Like, I don't mean that rudely, but for you, there was no denying you're putting on weight.
yeah,
And I'm like, and Athena's like, when will, and I'm like, we've got to fix the hypoglycemia. And this is the real importance and highlighting working with like a really qualified practitioner because there is a system that you need to go through. Like the short term, I didn't want Athena to put on weight. That was never my intention. And it's heartbreaking watching it as another woman when you know the person doesn't want to. But also, I was like, Athena, we've got to get the blood sugar, the hypoglycemia fixed to then help with all of these other things. Hey, Athena. And that was rough. Like there is no denying that you're listening to me, but watching the weight.
massively. And what I realized is it's like we start walking down this path to our health, and then it's like a side path, like a wee side quest comes off, and all of a sudden you've got to heal this side thing to come back to your path, and you can keep going on straight. Then all of a sudden there's another thing you've got to heal, then you're back on the path and you keep going. Um, so yeah, that's been really fun, but I can happily say back down 4 kgs. So Shelley seems to know what she's doing, seems to know what she's doing, and I now actually I don't need, I can have carbs, but I'm actually not, I don't need them for energy. Whereas before I needed them. I couldn't have a meal without it because I had no energy. I couldn't get up. I was flat. So now yeah, I've healed that. I've dropped the weight back down and I can go for walks. My skin's actually improving as well, which is really cool. Back to the original, back to the original part. But I know that there's still so many wee side quests that I need to go on to get my health to thriving.
And Athena, two final questions. One, what is your dream for your health in 2026? Like, where do you see, how big do you see this going? And then, as a side part of that, where do you see your life? Like, what is this opening up in terms of your life? Like, your life as a human, a mom, a woman, a business owner?
That's such a good question. And so I love doing in-person events. I absolutely love it. I get so much energy from doing it. But up until working with Shelley, I would crash. I could only do like one a month or I could do two a month and I couldn't do anything for the next month. I was exhausted. I was supposed to run a snowboarding retreat this year, but I ended up canceling because I didn't have the energy. I physically I could not do it. So I'm really excited to have the energy to actually do the things that I want in life. Like not just fit in a box and do the boring, what I call vanilla. Like I want to have that vanilla cake, but with the freaking all the ice, all the sprinkles. I want the colorful sprinkles. I want the star sprinkles. I want those little gold ball sprinkles. I want all the things, and that's just sort of what I do with my work. Like I love. Basically, it's all about helping people doing the inner work so they can live their best life and inspiring them and normalizing the pain, normalizing the stuff that's stored in our bodies to set ourselves free. And I love doing that like in person in groups and just speaking. And I'm really excited that my health is going to allow me to do that. Um, yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
So, obviously, you've gone from seeing me for skin and then maybe secondary weight loss, if we're perfectly honest, to now when you reflect on your health for 2026, yes, I know you still want symptoms. Obviously, we all do. So we want the skin, the weight perfect. But is that really what motivates you now on your health journey, or has it become bigger than those two symptoms?
Yeah, definitely bigger when I've seen because I'd sort of start from past experiences of crashing when doing too much work in my mind, realizing actually, no, I wasn't doing too much work. It was just my body wasn't healthy. My body couldn't handle it. I didn't have the capacity. And now imagine what I can do with a healthy body, energy, and as well having the tools. Me and Shelley joked about like we love our adrenal pills. So having the support if if I did want to push myself a little bit, I'm not going to collapse. I actually know what to do. I know how to look after myself. I know how to give myself the energy. I know how to recover, and I actually can make an impact in this world, and I can shine my light freaking bright because my body's healthy, and that motivates me. It's bigger.
And Athena, I reckon this is the big change in the health talk. Like we talked about with the coffee, and it's not about restrictions. Can I have the coffee? Can I not have the coffee? Can I run the event or not have the event because I'm going to crash? Once you actually get your health, you can have whatever magical life you want.
That's what I love. And like I feel like I've really learned that from how you say getting your what are your words? It's like getting your health is hard, but maintaining
Hard.
your health is easy. And it's like, wow, this is cool to get to that point.
Well, Athena doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to invite her to do a special event. I've got big plans. I love events. I love creating things. So I've, warmed Athena up to be like, yes, I would love to collaborate with that with you, Shelley. So she doesn't know, but it's going to be an exciting year for next year. And I love a good like last minute event and inviting, doing all sorts of things. So I'm very excited for where Athena's going to go, the event she's going to host, all the opportunities when you get your life back again. But thank you so much, Afina, for being an open book and sharing with us.
Yay, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I love sharing, and I'm excited for the plans you've got for me.
I know, there you go, Afina. Okay, hang on. Stop.